Good
What's up,
morning,
fellas?
How you doing, boys?
We're doing.
Welcome to another episode of Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture. My brother Brooks is driving in a car in California right now.
We're
He's
doing
coming home from a
California
wedding.
things driving in a Tesla.
Yeah, can't see his torso because he's got so much camo on it.
Yeah, I want to be a floating head.
Success.
Yeah, welcome to another episode, guys. We've got a lot of stuff to cover today. It was Ravens Steelers week, big NFL Week 11 stuff going on. Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals are going crazy. Colton Cowser finishes second in the MLB Rookie of the Year voting in the AL side behind Luis Gil. So a lot of stuff to talk about. But first, Brian, how was your week?
It's good. Work was positive, both profitability wise and just staff wise. So the week was good. Obviously not the result we wanted in the Ravens game, which we'll dive into. And because of that game this week, I have a full gallon of Haterade that I am going to spray all over the Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture podcast today.
I didn't see anything you just said in that sentence. All right, where do you guys want to start? Do you want to start with baseball? Do you want to start with the Caps? Do you want to go through football and then talk that stuff afterwards? What we got?
Well, I want to hear about Brooks and Kate's wedding. Hi, Caitlin, if you're there.
She can't. I got my headphones in, so she can't hear you.
Okay.
Ryan says hi.
I also say hi.
She's my cameraman today.
I dig it. That way you're not going to kill anybody. All right. I want to hear about the wedding, Brooks. Who got married? What vineyard, stuff like that.
Yeah, we came out here for a wedding. One of Caitlin's good friends from PA school did like a destination wedding out here and in Sonoma Valley. And they got married at Vianza, which was beautiful. We stayed at some place called The Lodge, which was amazing as well. And California in this time of year is not as warm as you would think. It's right now it's 45 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone thinks California. I don't think you think about the north side at all being the same temperature as it is at home. Yeah. So we're in San Francisco right now, driving back to the airport.
All right. So how many pastel pieces of clothing did you take out there?
Pastel?
Like Easter egg-based colors. I don't know, because, I mean, we all got our preppy sides, so I know you probably took, like, some sort of, pastel-y based or paisley-based outfits.
Not really. I mean, not really. I'm wearing this right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I took some preppier clothes for the wine tastings, which was awesome. We hit up like 4 different wineries out here. Never really been to a real place to do wine tastings besides like Maryland and Indiana and Pennsylvania, so not really big time wine country. So
what do you mean? Indiana fine wine, dude?
Yeah. The sweetest wine you'll ever taste.
Story time with me. When we went out to Sonoma Valley a couple years ago with a couple of our friends, we were at a pub late night, and what we didn't realize is that in like Sonoma Valley area or Healdsburg area, the bars closed at like 10 or 10:30, and so we're looking to get an Uber. And let's just say that signal isn't the best out there, and Ubers aren't the most. There's not a ton of Ubers out there. So at one point, the bar's about to close, and we're about 6 miles away from our hotel, and I just think, okay, I'm going to walk to this firehouse that's down the road, and I'm going to get some nice firefighter to drive us home because we're fucked. Like, we're not going to sleep outside the bar. But then all of a sudden we get an Uber hit from a guy in a Tesla. He was wearing a tactical vest. He was wearing protective glasses, like he was like a tech ed teacher. He was also wearing a badge. He was a bounty hunter, and he was also
Nice.
a poet, and he went by the name Prince Arthur, and he called himself Thor. I have a great imagination. I cannot make it up. It was so fucking ridiculous. I still have his business card in my junk drawer to my right.
You should probably destroy that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's one of the wildest. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to meet this human being. You should have told me
Let me
about
see if I
this.
can get it. Hold on.
Pigtown seems Brooks Pigtown says this seems really safe. Yeah. He's good.
Well,
He's
yeah,
not
I'm-
looking at the stream. We're gonna be doing the housekeeping stuff for Brooks today at Pigtown. So we got this. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're good. We'll make it through.
His eyes are peeled. Joe Racky says, "Are we sure it wasn't Dog the Bounty Hunter?" No, we're not sure.
That would be
I would
awesome.
imagine Brian would probably recognize Dog the Bounty Hunter in a tactical vest driving a Tesla in Sacramento, California, but maybe not. Who knows? Sonoma, whatever. Anyway, let's get into the. It's California. The cars drive themselves. I like that. Let's get
wish,
into
that'd be-
let's go through quickly the MLB and hockey stuff, and then we can just focus on football the rest of the show. Paul Skeens, Luis Heel win the Rookie of the Year awards. Colton Cowser finishes in second AL voting. Jackson Merrill, Severna Park kid, who I had money on to win the NL Rookie of the Year, comes in second in the NL. Do we think that he got this right? Do we think Cowser got hosed a little bit? I know we're homers, but what do we think about the Rookie of the Year noms? And I think they're giving out MVPs tonight.
I think it's a cascade effect. They start doing like one at a time or something like that every day.
Yeah, it's one every night. Yeah.
I would assume Cy Young is probably up tonight, with MVP being the last one because that's the biggest one.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and I know we're homers. I mean, Heel had a great year, so I'm not going to fight him on that. What I'm going to fight for Colton Cowser is Luis Heel. This is technically his third season pitching. He pitched. So really what I'm getting at is I'm going to bat for Colton Cowser in regards to the MLB's rookie eligibility rules. I think it's absolute trash. Now, I know Colton Cowser came up a little bit last year and had some at-bats to continue his own rookie eligibility. But to be able to be on your third season, 3 seasons is ridiculous. And not to mention, there was a 4th season where he didn't even make the major leagues. They tried to call him up, but he couldn't because of injuries. So he got sent back down to the minors. So that's just a lot. That's too much play over the course of a almost half-decade span.
Yeah. And Pigtown puts on here, Luis Heel was ranked 110 out of 114 in starting pitchers for XFIP. XFIP is expected fielder independent pitching. Fielder independent pitching is a stat that a lot of like baseball statisticians use to see how good the pitcher is, regardless of how their defense plays behind them. So we're saying he's the number 110 out of 114. That's not very good in that one particular stat.
Yeah, I think it's more of a shame, and this is that's a shame that what was it, like 3 people didn't even vote for Cowser in the Rookie of the Year voting, which is bullshit. I get him not winning it. That's fine. Who gives a shit really at that point? But how can you not vote for the guy in your top 3? That's just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that these voters are regional based. They probably got 1 or 2 guys per region. Let's make it a safe bet. Say that I guess the New York region guy didn't put Cowser in his top 3.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was a rookie. He hit 270, 24 homers, and he was a Gold Glove finalist. I mean, I don't really understand
what else do you have to do?
How is he not in your top 3? I don't get it. I actually think that the Red Sox fans have a good case with Willie Abreu. I think he was really good this year, and he kind of got shafted and was a little bit further down the list than he should have been. But look, at the end of the day, Luis Heel was one of the better starting pitchers on the team that ended up having one of the better records or the best record in the American League. So that's why he's going to win. Also, these awards are more narrative driven than they are results driven. We've seen that time and time again. So Luis Heel pitching for the Yankees. That's gonna give him a bump right off the bat. Bri, what do you got?
Yeah, I just And also, it kind of hurts. It stings a little bit more. Not only the knife going in, and you're twisting it now, because if you win Rookie of the Year, if you get your Rookie of the Year, you get an extra compensatory pick in the first round.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or a competitive balance pick, I think is what they call it. So it actually hurts the team that these narratives by these writers are trash.
Yep. And I have a bunch of friends saying in my other group chat, like, well, whatever, we'll reload up next year. We got Mayo and Holiday. Let's not forget, Jackson Holiday is no longer eligible as a rookie next year. He needed to have 130 or less at bats before rosters expanded in September 1st. And as of that date, I believe he had 135 at bats. Should he have started those extra 2 games and lost his eligibility, his rookie eligibility? No, I think that was complete roster mismanagement. I think it was stupid, and it sucks. But that's the way it is, and that's what we got to live with now. And here we're gonna go. Cowser got a $500,000 incentive for finishing second. That's good for him.
That's good.
I think that's good, especially for younger guys in the MLB. They're not making nearly as much money as they should be, especially Colton Cowser, the amount he produced. What do we think on the NL side? Do we think Skeens over Merrill makes sense? Pigtown put a good stat in here that Jackson Merrill had more hits than Paul Skeens had innings pitched. Look, it's a tale of two things. Merrill wins Rookie of the Year 9 out of 10 years, but Paul Skeens was just doing unbelievable stuff on the baseball field this year. Brian, what do you have? You have something?
He came in like a bat out of hell in a very, very good way. I mean, he was a comet, and not only, and going back to the narrative thing, he was a hot narrative for baseball writers. So I can't really fight this one. I'm not using the narrative thing. I mean, the man pitched extremely, extremely well right out of the gate.
Yeah.
First year in the show, and he's coming out. He's throwing electric stuff. He's throwing frisbees. He's throwing 99 to 102 to 103. You couldn't take your eyes off of him when he pitched.
Yeah, I can't make an argument there at all. Like you said, any other year Jackson Merrill would have probably gotten that. But yeah, Paul Skeens, I just don't. There's no way, especially with like the hype that was around him, and he just lived up to it right away.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah, I think he had 4 or 5 starts in September, and his ERA was 0.8. He was striking out like 10 dudes every start. I mean, he was unbelievable. It sucks for Jackson Merrill, hometown kid, guy who I had money on to win. So obviously, I was rooting for him. But I don't think you can fault anybody who voted for Paul Skeens. I mean, he just did electric stuff. It's one of the most fun rookie seasons we've seen from a pitcher in a long time. He was the first All-Star or first rookie to start the All-Star game since Hideo Nomo did it in '95. So that's almost 30 years ago. That a rookie was that impactful right away. We'll get into the Cy Youngs and the MVP stuff later in the week when we do our NFL picks. Probably we kind of know where all those awards are going. We know Scooble's going to get the American League Cy Young. I guess the NL Cy Young's a little bit more up in the air, but I would think Chris Sale has that pretty much locked up, which I think would be the first Cy Young of his career. So good for Chris Sale for the career resurgent year that he had. And then Judge and Ohtani are winning MVPs. And if you don't think they are, you're an idiot. They're going to win the MVPs. It's not even going to be close. Let's move on to hockey. How about Alex Ovechkin? 5 goals in the last 2 nights. Leads the NHL with 15 goals. The next closest guy has 13. I believe it's Leon Draisaitl. Caps are 13-4. They're in first place in the Metropolitan Division through 18 games. Did we think that the Caps were going to be good this year? Did we think Alex Ovechkin had this much life in him, or is this just like completely shocking? It seems like the hockey world is on its head right now.
I haven't watched enough hockey to even speak very knowledgeably on it. I usually wait till after the All-Star break to start paying attention. I did know that with the offseason moves the Capitals made, there weren't very high expectations of even being this good this fast. This has written all over it, and I hope I'm wrong. Peak real early. I do know Ovi got hurt or a little banged up last night. Which
they're saying day to day.
Day to day. He's a tough son of a bitch, but he's also, he's not a spring chicken anymore.
He's 39.
Yeah. So I'm happy for the Caps. Don't watch enough hockey currently to speak speak knowledge. I don't know who the fuck our goalie is. I don't know who our coach is. 'Cause I don't think it's Todd Reardon anymore. I think they brought up the guy from the Hershey Bears. So I just can't speak knowledge. With Dusty or Brooks, you will have more knowledge on this than I would.
His name's Spencer Carberry. He's a younger guy, 43. He's a bald-headed guy, but he was assistant coach with the Maple Leafs for the last couple of years before getting hired by the Caps.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't watched a ton yet this year, but I mean, after last year, I don't see how you could have expected them to be this good.
I know.
I wasn't expecting it, and Ovechkin playing out of his mind right now, like he's 28 years old and not 39. Maybe he stopped putting soda in his Gatorade bottle on the bench and started taking care of himself a little bit more.
Nice. All my buddies who are like, hockey is their number one sport to watch. We're basically saying that really this is a 2-year window where the Caps are selling out to get Ovi the goal record, and then they'll start actually taking the team serious again, which hopefully wasn't really the case, but I have no reason not to believe them because they're diehard Caps guys.
Yeah. Look, they've been doing a good job. Another guy I want to shout out, Connor McMichael, has been playing really well for us. I believe he's got 12 goals right behind Ovechkin in that top 5 in the NHL range. But yeah, good stuff from the Caps so far this season. I've watched a lot more hockey this year than I have the last couple of years really combined, and we've only played 20 games so far. So I'm going to keep watching. It's really fun to watch. And also I have a little wager on Alex Ovechkin breaking Wayne Gretzky's record this season. So we'll see. Hopefully that'll come to fruition for us.
What's the record? 892?
It was it was a lot. I think it was close to 100 to 1. I think it's $10 to win 1,000.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he's well on pace now. He's on pace to beat, if he keeps on at this rate, which he is outrageous. He would break it with several weeks to go left in the season.
Yeah,
I'm trying to pull the bet up right now so I can see. I have $10 to win 1,000 on Ovechkin to win the Rocket Richard, which he is in line to do right now. And then I have it was 10 to 1 for Ovi to break the goal record this year. So that was not quite as good odds. But
what's the number? Is it like 892 or something, or
895 is to tie and 896 is to go ahead, I believe. And he is at 868, I think.
Okay.
So he's less than 30 goals away at this point.
Okay.
But yeah. All right. We've talked enough hockey and baseball. It's 20 minutes in, and let's start talking about some football. We really, because we did our picks on Friday last week, we kind of already discussed the Washington Philly game. Do you guys have anything else on that game before we talk about Baltimore-Pittsburgh, or do you guys just want to go straight into it?
Let's go straight into it. I want to start with my that's a shame, though.
All right, let's do it.
I have multiple. This is the least of my 3. The Jacksonville Jaguars. What the fuck? I mean, that's a shame. I mean, do you want analysis on this? I mean, you have a decent you have a decent defense. Your quarterback is absolute hot garbage. So I understand the 6 points that you scored. You gave up 52. Hey, let's just take an inventory real quick. Holy shit. And you got your owner saying, this is the best team they've ever put together. I understand Trevor Lawrence is hurt, but you still have talent, first-round talent, all over the field that has produced, except for your first overall pick. Well, in defense, Walker, who is an absolute moron. I think one day the left side of his brain works, and then the next day the right side of his brain works. Anyway, that's a shame. He should have been fired in the locker room after he gave the team speech.
He should have been fired in between the 2 London games. So we said that 5-6 weeks ago. I mean, he has no business being the coach of this team. He's completely lost the locker room. Look, I understand the Lions are probably the best team in the NFL, and you can make an argument. They're one of the best teams in the NFL, and they blow some bad teams out from time to time. But if you're an NFL team and you're losing 52-6 or whatever the hell this game ended up being, then you've quit because there's too much talent in the NFL there's too much parity in the NFL for you to lose this badly. There's no excuse for it. I can't imagine Doug Peterson will be there much longer, and we've been saying this for weeks. So maybe he will. Who knows?
Yeah, we might get an update during this podcast that he's been fired.
Yeah, we'll see.
I just got asked to dispose of a dead rat in a young lady's house down the street. That's literally the text I just got. That's your random shit of the day.
All right. There you
Nice.
go. I'll just while we're doing that's a shame. My that's a shame goes to the Cleveland Browns defense. Thank you, because Taysom Hill put up 50 fantasy points for me this week, and he put up 50
You
on a
started
couple of my
Taysom
bench.
Hill.
I had to. George Kittle was out at the last minute. But yeah, he was also on a couple of my benches. But dude, Cleveland, your defense fall from grace. I mean, Taysom Hill putting up 50 burger. That's Jamar Chase shit. What's going on?
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah,
That's rough. I mean, I'm gonna do the obvious. That's a shame, and we already talked about it with Calzer not getting any of the top 3 votes from 3
For
writers.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So
those same 3 writers
yeah.
are probably not going to vote for Ichiro to go into the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah, can we get a vote? Can our show get a vote? How do we apply for that?
We're just as qualified as the dude who voted for Cade Smith #1.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk? I haven't looked at the rundown. Are we going to talk about the Tyson Holyfield fight? I'm sorry, Tyson Jake Paul fight.
We can spend 1 minute tops on it. Go ahead.
All right, they're good. I'm going to do my main. That's a shame. Netflix. What the hell happened? You have so much money, and that was one of the most piss poor performances by a major company to put on I'm going to call it a major event. That was awful. Not only was there buffering and people getting kicked off left and right, the people you had talking, sometimes their microphones didn't work. Evander Holyfield can't physically fucking hear. Like his brain is just jello. People would talk to him and he'd just be staring straight ahead like, Evander, check your battery. Like, what's going on here? Someone had to like crank him up in order to get him going. And then I don't think Roy Jones Jr. knows current boxers. I don't know what the hell he was talking about.
He can't be touched, though.
No, he can't be touched. He's so fast. Great video game back in the day. I mean, what the fuck was happening? I mean, it was like watching a comedy. I thought it was actually like an onion or like a spoof of the. It's so bad.
It was, and honestly,
they better figure that shit out before Christmas.
It's crazy that you could bet on this fight because it was like I've seen WWE matches that look more realistic than that boxing match was. It was really, really awful, and you could tell right away. Tyson basically said, "Yeah, I'll take the bag and lose to you, but you're not knocking me out." And that's what happened. They just didn't throw punches at each other for the last 3 rounds. Netflix couldn't get the thing going. It was buffering, and it wasn't Bruce or Michael Buffer, which is the worst part of it. We didn't get to see either of those guys, who I love. Yeah, it sucked. Brian, you got something.
They should have had Carl Lewis sing the national anthem. Tyson at one point is standing there just like this. His feet aren't moving. And it's almost like he woke up and was like, holy shit, I'm in the boxing ring again. I got to start fighting again.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is occurring? And if Netflix, look, you took some humble pie, and I hope you fucking figure it out, because if I watched a Ravens-Texans game on Christmas Day, and that's happening, that is going to be a lot of really pissed off NFL people. And I think Roger Goodell might physically come to your headquarters, start with a softball bat, start knocking some shit around.
Yeah. I'm glad they that this happened for this shitty event, and
they can sink more money into whatever they need to get
so they can figure it out before the Ravens play on Netflix, because that's going to be if that happens during any NFL game, people are going to go nuts.
Yeah. The first podcast we did, the 3 of us, went smoother than what Netflix did.
I don't know, man. Go watch that first episode back. It wasn't very good.
Don't watch it.
We did our best. All right, let's talk Ravens Steelers. I hated that fight was so stupid. And this game was kind of stupid. Look, first quarter, we missed a couple field goals. We fumbled the ball a couple times in the first half. Lamar, did he have his best game? No. Did he have his worst game? No. He didn't have a good game, that's for sure. He wasn't the MVP caliber player that we've seen all year long. But most of this game was not his fault. Our kicker missed a couple kicks. We turned the ball over in really stupid ways with those 2 fumbles, with that ball getting ripped out of Justice Hill's hand for the interception. Deontay Johnson dropped a touchdown that could have been a little bit better of a throw, but still very catchable ball. Zay Flowers had a ball bounce off his chest at the end of the game. Derrick Henry got 13 touches in the whole game, 0 in the fourth quarter. Wasn't on the field during the 2-point attempt when you need 2 yards, and we have the best guy in the league at getting 2 yards, and he's just not on the field. That makes a lot of sense. What do we take from this game? I can't believe the Ravens lost a game this year in which we didn't give up a touchdown. Our defense played good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, super frustrating. Are we done with Tucker? I mean, everyone's freaking out about him now, and I'm not. I think there's something going on physically.
He's missed every kick he's missed has gone left. He hasn't missed a single kick right.
I know Brooks mentioned last time that McAfee said something about how this occurs when there's an injury. And I don't know if that's the case. I mean, obviously, McAfee is going to have way more knowledge on this than we will.
Yeah.
It looks like the yips. That's an outsider's look.
I think there is something like physically going on, but once you see a couple not go in, that's obviously going to mess with your confidence as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, the Patrick Queen strip on the sideline on Likely, that was a huge play in the game that happened inside of, I think, our own 20. So that's a massive play, and good for the defense for being able to stop them on a lot of these, because we gave up a lot of these, a lot of field position on our side of the field early in the game, and our defense really stepped up and kept us in it, which I like to see. I also don't think Russell Wilson played excellent in this game. I don't think the offense was really good on either side. I just don't understand the Rex Ryan was going crazy on Get Up about this yesterday. And I actually totally agreed with what he was saying. He just called Todd Monken a complete moron. It's just like, he's the same guy who did the same thing in the Chiefs game last year in the AFC Championship game. Just getting away from what the Ravens do best when we really need it the most. Also, Justice Hill being our leading receiver with 4 catches for 28 yards. That's got to be. We can't have that. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. What do we think this means for the AFC North moving forward? Do you think that Baltimore is now probably we're looking like we're going to be probably a wild card team, and Pittsburgh's going to run this division? Brian, what do you have on this? Brian, well, looks like Brooks is in his drive-through.
He's in a parking garage.
Oh,
but I mean, look, the Steelers, are definitely the leaders in the clubhouse. There's still a bunch of division games left. We get to play the Steelers again at home.
Yeah.
What are we? We're 2 games back.
Yeah.
At this point, or I guess technically 2.5 games back of the division, because the Steelers have the upper hand at the moment.
Yeah.
Still a lot of season left. I still don't really think the Steelers are what they're portraying their record is, even though they beat us. The thing with the Ravens-Steelers games is take the records away, take the names off the back of the jersey. It just seems like it's a rock fight. We know it's going to be a rock fight. I don't give a damn what. If one team's really good or one team's really bad, it ends up being a 3. I think all the games the last 15 have ended in 7 points or less. Margin of victory.
What was kind of even tougher to swallow is I feel like we got out physical in that game too, which is usually what happens when somebody wins that game, but that's just something we pride ourselves on, and it's a tough one to swallow when that happens.
Yeah.
Look, the NFL fan, the casual NFL fan goes week to week. The world is fucking falling down. It's going to be okay. We got a decent squad. We're 7-4. I think we would have taken that record if you said that in the beginning of the season. We're still we're still healthy. All right, knock on wood. We're still relatively very, very healthy compared to other teams in the league. Everyone pump the fucking brakes, put it in park, and we're going to be just fine. Now, if we go out and lose 2 more in a row, okay, let's have another conversation. But I like our team. I like our chances. This is a blip in the radar. Yeah, Todd Monken made some stupid calls. I mean, John Harbaugh is, I think, one of the things that concerns me the most. I'm not calling for him to be fired. So everyone just hold your horses on this shit. I just think sometimes he looks overwhelmed, which is stunning for a coach that's been in the league, I think, 17 years now or 16 years. Yeah. So I just think that is a concern for me. And that's been a concern for a couple years.
Russ had a 14 QBR on Sunday, according to Pigtown. Yeah, that's not good.
And coach of the year, I'm sorry, is going to be Dan Campbell. It's going to be.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I think the dude in Minnesota, KOC, has a really good chance too. That team's 8-2. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like they are, but they are. Like Pigtown said, they took 3 balls out of our hands. I think we played probably, if not the worst game we played all season, one of the worst games we played all season, especially on offense. I think the defense played actually one of their better games of the year. Offensively, I think it was one of our worst games of the year, and we still had a chance to win it. We were still 2 points away from tying it. I do think that bodes well for us, but we just keep losing these games in stupid ways, and we keep losing them. It feels like the same way every time. Missed opportunities on special teams and just really dumb turnovers and really dumb penalties too. Mm-hmm. The offensive lineman down the field a couple of times took 2 really big plays off the board for us towards the end of that game. That really sucked. And it just kills the momentum of the drive, and it really just forces you to play left-handed so much more than you want to. And it's I mean, it's tough. It's a tough loss to take. But I guess there are positives. The defense played a little bit better. But yeah, I always say, and this is a big Mike Lombardi thing, missed field goals or turnovers. Mm-hmm. So you had 2 fumbles, and you have 2 fumbles, and you have a pick, and we missed 2 field goals. That's 5 turnovers. And we only lost this game by 2. We had a chance to tie it at the end. Don't understand why Derrick Henry's not on the field on a 2-point conversion attempt. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's like borderline like mismanagement, and like you really need to look at yourself in the mirror if you paid Derrick Henry and you're not going to use him on a 2-point conversion situation. I just don't get that. I'm going to be mad about that for the rest of the year. But anyway, it's just 5 turnovers against the Steelers. They're well coached. They have a good defense, and they can run the ball. You're not going to win games like that. It's just not. You're just not. And they have a good kicker.
Yeah, he's pretty fucking good. Let's put it that way. It's like Brandon Aubrey and who unfortunately missed one last night, but he slipped on the turf. Brandon Aubrey and Boswell are really fighting for the best kicker in the league.
And the kid for Detroit hasn't missed yet.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Bates. He's a rookie. He might win Rookie of the Year.
Over Cowser. So this game reminded me, actually, going back, nice little segue to the Orioles. It reminded me of an Oriole game where we would pitch real well and then we wouldn't hit, or vice versa. Yeah, this is our offense went cold. Our defense played lights out, comparatively speaking to what it's been previously. Yeah. So I'm not giving. There's no reason to give up hope or to jump off the wagon here. We're going to be fine.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, but this game really sucks. Winning this game, look, if we win this game, us and Pittsburgh are tied atop the division at 8-3, and we still get them one more time. Their schedule does get tough, as Charlie, our resident Steelers fan, mentioned. And congratulations to Charlie, who went 8-4, or maybe 9-4 in his picks last week, doing guest picks for us. He's better than I am. Maybe he should take over my spot on the show, but especially at least for picking games. But congratulations to him. But he did mention to us, and if you look at the Steelers' schedule, you'll know this. They have 7 games left, and 5 of them are division games, and the other 2 are against Kansas City and the Eagles. So it's not like they have an easy road ahead of them. They got to face Cincinnati twice. They got to face Cleveland twice, which is not very good. And they got to face us again, and they still have to face Kansas City and Philadelphia. So not going to be an easy road ahead for them. When we think about Justin Fields sliding 1 yard before the first down marker, that would have been a game-sealing first down for the Steelers. That didn't end up mattering, but I thought that was hilarious. I thought Mike Tomlin was going to homicide him on the sideline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you want to say? I mean, this like
looks like Justin Fields, man.
That's rough.
Yeah, Steelers defense, everything that we thought it was going to be going in. TJ Watt's a man amongst boys. Patrick Queen played really well in this game. Joey Porter Jr., Micah Fitzpatrick, and they missed Alex Highsmith in this game, but it looks like they've got the guys to fill in while he's on the sideline. So good for the Steelers. They're a good defense, good team, and they're well coached. And I really like Tomlin, despite the fact that he is our rival. Yeah. Anything else on this game before we move on?
No, and I don't want to get more pissed off, and I don't want our listeners and watchers to get pissed off as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, first game of the day I want to talk about. I mean, we'll save Bills Chiefs for a little bit later in the pod, just so we can keep you guys on your toes a little bit. Let's talk about Green Bay Chicago. I don't know if you guys got to watch this game, but it was kind of a shit show, and it was classic Bears heartbreaking fashion loss. They drive down the field. They have their rookie going to go get his moment against the Green Bay Packers, who have dominated them over the course of the last 15, 20 years. And Cairo Santos and the offensive line for the protection team for the Chicago Bears just gets completely blown up, just like the Chiefs did to the Broncos last week. And Cairo Santos gets his kick blocked, and the Bears lose in heartbreaking fashion, like always. Do we think this is the end of the Bears? Can we write them off as a team for 2024?
I mean, I think we wrote them off for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they win this game. They're 5-6 or 5-4, though. I mean, they're 5-5. I don't know.
Yeah, but eye test tells you differently, I think. Same thing that Brian was saying with the Steelers too. Like the eye test is just, do I think they're good? Yeah, I think their offense is better than it has been, but I just don't see them as the record portrays them as at the moment. But yeah, Bears are done.
Don't ask me to comment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you don't have much else on this game. Josh Jacobs was the leading rusher and receiver for Green Bay. Don't know what's going on with their receiving core in Green Bay. I thought it seemed like they had a lot of weapons, and now I guess I don't know if Jordan Love's hurt or if they're just not leaning on the pass nearly as much. But it seems like Green Bay pulls out these one-score games quite a bit, and I don't think their coach gets enough credit for how good he has been over the course of the last couple of years, especially in these close games. But yeah, I don't think Jordan Love has really been playing great. I'm not over the moon about Green Bay, even though they're 7-3, but Chicago is bad. And I think, to my question earlier, I think, yeah, I've written them off, and I think they're done. Dodgers are scheduled to visit for Soto. I saw that he visited with the Red Sox for 3 hours. I saw that he was visiting with Toronto. He's going to go to every team and see what the offers are. I saw, I don't know, Brooks drop out here a little bit. I saw a comment from Chris Rose and some other guys the other day saying that the Mets have offered him over $650 million already. So I don't know if that's true. That's just a report. But if that's the case, I think it's going to be tough to get him out of the New York area, regardless of whether it's the Mets or the Yankees. Sorry, I know we're jumping around.
Yeah, it's going to be the highest bidder. I still think San Francisco is going to come in here if they haven't already and drop some sort of massive bomb.
Yeah, you like that sneaky little Buster Posey play. You know, he's the EVP there now, right?
Yes, they like I said in a podcast 5 or 6 ago, they missed out on Judge. They missed out on Carlos Correa. They missed out on another Ohtani. They feel like the redheaded stepchild, and I think they're just going to try to go all and make this splash. I do not think Soto is worth this money. He is a fantastic, fantastic player, but he's not an Ohtani. No one ever really can be.
Yeah.
He's not a talent that will sell you a ton of tickets. Like he's not like a bombastic guy who gets the crowd fired up. I mean, I would even take Acuna over Soto because of speed.
Ooh, 2 tore ACLs though.
Yeah, I mean you're not wrong there whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, look, Soto's a generational type guy at the plate with his eye and his ability to command the strike zone from an offensive side. But yeah, defensively, he's not bringing much to the table. He's not much of a speedster. He's the kind of guy that once he gets later in his career, he's going to be just a bat. And do you want to pay $600 million for a guy who's probably going to be a DH in 5 years? I don't know. We'll see. Somebody's going to pay it, but I'm not sure. Let's move on. Stay on football because we're off the rails. I think Brooks is going to come back here, but he's having some Wi-Fi problems. Obviously, he is in a motor vehicle right now. So,
well, yeah, he's also in concrete. He's in the middle of a concrete jungle because he just parked his car in the rental car lot.
Yeah. Let's talk about a couple games that we don't need to talk about very, very much. Let's just get through them. Minnesota takes care of business against Tennessee. Didn't watch a single minute of this game. Minnesota's 8-2. Like we said before, don't really know how. Tennessee is one of the worst teams in the league. They're no fun to watch, and they have no weapons on offense even at all. Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones all had decent games. Actually, Hawkinson didn't really do much in this game, but good for the Vikings. Staying 5-0, they're staying perfect 5-0 now against the AFC this year. So yeah, I don't have much to say. Do you have anything on that game, Bri?
No,
okay,
no,
perfect.
It's not even worth time.
Cleveland and New Orleans, we already talked about a little bit. The Taysom Hill blow-up game. Taysom Hill had 7 carries for 140 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also added 8 catches for 50 yards. Probably played quarterback more than Derek Carr in this game. Don't know. But the Darren Rizzi, now 2-0 as the New Orleans Saints head coach. Good for him.
This guy is swinging a baseball bat on the sidelines. I fucking love his energy. It's unbelievable to watch. He is Steve Ballmer at those like meetings where they release like the new iPhone. Like, whoa!
Yeah, he looks like a Looney Tune on the sideline, by the way.
He's freaking out. I love it.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that game as much. And another game we don't have to talk about very much. Las Vegas and Miami. Vegas didn't even hardly show up to the field. Gardner Minshew threw the ball 43 times, which I would say is too many times. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Jalen Waddle is a complete zero on offense for the Miami Dolphins at this point. I think his most fantasy points he's put up in a game this year was like 10. Brock Bowers is the real deal at tight end. 13 catches, 126 yards. This team is terrible. Everyone knows he's their best offensive weapon, and he's still going crazy. That's how I know he's that good. So good for him. Miami getting a little sneaky, maybe backdoor 7 seed kind of potential if they get hot towards the end of the year as a 4-6 team. Chuck, I think, mentioned that on our pod the other day, but not much from this game. The Raiders are terrible, and Miami is still 4-6, so not really worth talking too much about. Matthew Stafford, go ahead, Brian.
If we ever do a redraft of last year's draft, Brock Bowers is going in the top 4.
High, yeah. That guy's good. Yeah. Maybe him and Joe Alt, the right tackle from Notre Dame that's playing for the Chargers. Yeah. He's been really good this year.
And I understand why, and I'm not stupid. I understand why Bowers dropped. He had that injury last season to Georgia. Mm-hmm. So I don't blame him falling, but
still a top 10 guy, I think, right? I think he got drafted like 8th.
8, I think. Yeah. So I mean he was good. He'll go top 4. Now you're not going to take him over a quarterback. It's just the nature of the NFL.
Yeah.
But he's a real deal.
Rams beat the Patriots 28-22, kind of sweat this one out. Like you guys have said the past couple of weeks, and like we've said the last, I guess, 5 or 6 weeks, Brooks especially, the Patriots really just aren't that bad. They've hung with pretty much every team. They're losing a lot of games, but it seems like they're not getting blown out very much. Matthew Stafford kept the Rams in this game. He's threw 4 touchdowns. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp both had really big games here. Stafford moved to 10th all time in passing touchdowns for a quarterback. I think that's pretty crazy, but I guess it makes sense. He's been playing forever. And good for him. He's putting together a Hall of Fame career. He's probably already locked in after he won that Super Bowl a couple years ago. Drake May looks better every week. That team is terrible. He's got no weapons, and he's still putting up decent numbers. I really like the way he looks, and I think if they spend in free agency in the offseason, they could be a pretty decent, frisky team, especially in a bad division, I would think, next year.
What do we think on Stafford moving forward? Is he a Ram moving forward? Is he retiring? or can we see him signing something like a 2-year deal somewhere else?
Is his contract up? Do you know?
I don't know, but he's playing so well. But this could come down to like, do you want to go through the grind kind of shit? Because he does take a beating.
I don't know, man. It's totally up to him and how like a couple years ago, he was having that elbow problem and he couldn't throw the ball. And I was like kind of writing him off. I was like, all right, look, you got elbow problems. You're a quarterback. You're getting up there in age. He looked like he was trying to throw a med ball half the season. And then they took him out of the lineup. That's why Baker Mayfield was getting starts for them a couple years ago. I mean, I was writing him off. And then last year he came back and he was excellent. And this year he's been more of the same. I know he looked pretty bad against the Dolphins last week on Monday night. I think it was Monday night because the Dolphins front was in the backfield 2 seconds into every play. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine him hanging it up, especially with the way he's playing. He still seems like he's the top half of the league quarterback. So,
yeah, he's top 5 or 6.
Yeah. We spent too much time on that game. Detroit kicks the shit out of Jacksonville. Goff throws 4 touchdowns to offset the 5 picks he threw last week. Mac Jones is not an NFL quarterback. Didn't really watch a ton of this game. Turned it off after it was 28-3 in like the first quarter. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs continue to be the very best running back tandem in the NFL. And really, I think one of the best in the last 10 or 15 years. I think they have been excellent. Amon-Ra St. Brown is awesome. They didn't even have Sam Laporta in this game, and you couldn't even have noticed. 52-6 over Jacksonville, and Doug Peterson needs to get fired. This is just ridiculous.
Yep.
That's all he had on that. Anthony Richardson out-duels Aaron Rodgers in what was just a football game. They played football. Anthony Richardson actually looked pretty good in this game after getting reinstated to the starting lineup after Joe Flacco gets benched. The Jets are a complete mess. Their defense is not good. Their offense is not good. I don't really know what else to say about this. They're just bad. Bri?
Look, I want record. The Jets are getting exactly what the Jets deserve.
Brooks is on the streets. Yeah.
The Jets are getting exactly what the Jets deserve. You made this bed. You sit there. You soak in it. I hope it's a water bed or one of them vibrating beds. I don't really give a damn. And then now Aaron Rodgers is coming out and saying he thinks he's going to come back next year. This is the same shit he did with Green Bay. Good luck signing a good coach. Good luck signing free agents when your Messiah doesn't know if he does or doesn't want to play next year.
So
go back to the cave. Go back. Brooks probably at the cave that Aaron Rodgers was in, and it says light.
Yeah, maybe.
On the streets.
On the streets. Rebooking flights because our flights are getting delayed.
Oh, man, that sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah.
How bad? How bad they're getting delayed, man?
Enough that we're going to miss our connecting flight, so now we're rebooking a different flight. So travel issues are always fun. I feel like I've had the worst travel issues this year. I should say we, Caitlin and I.
Yeah. That sucks. You've really had a rough go of it travel-wise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you really had. Oh, on that note, this is a complete right turn from the left-hand lane. Welcome to that segment. Had an employee, had a friend. She had a passenger. There's nothing funny about this. What I'm about to say. There was someone who died on her plane, leaving San Juan, and so. What? Yeah, the person had a stroke or a heart attack. Apologies. And she said that like people around her were complaining because you're not allowed to get off the plane while they're obviously trying to bring this person back to life. They brought like the defibrillator out, said they tried to revive him for like him or her for like 30 to 35 minutes. And then people were bitching that like the air wasn't on. Thinking to myself, when she was telling me the story, I'm thinking, people need to take inventory of what the hell is going on right now. Yeah. Someone just died, and you're bitching about your hot.
That is a shame.
Shut your fucking yapper.
Yeah. All right. That has been Left Turn from the Right-Hand Lane. We're going to move back into football. We don't need to talk about Colts Jets anymore. The Colts are 5-6. The Jets are 3-8. The Jets have now lost, I think, I think they're 1-5 or 1-6 since they fired Robert Saleh. They've lost 7 out of 8. Just really stupid, bad organizational stuff from the Jets. We don't really need to talk about it any further because you guys have heard it.
Mhm.
Seattle, a team that I wanted to bet but didn't. Seattle comes out of nowhere and beats the San Francisco 49ers. Kittle was a pretty late scratch. We found out Sunday morning that he wasn't going to be playing in this game, which sucks because I have him on 4 fantasy football teams and had to get some Taysom Hill action going today or yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever. But good for the Seattle Seahawks. I love how Geno will look like a complete moron one play, and then the next play he runs a touchdown and acts like he's the best quarterback of all time. I love it. I think the irrational confidence, you really need that, especially from a gunslinger like Geno. I don't think Purdy played excellent in this game. McCaffrey's still coming back from his injury. Smith and Jigba has his second huge game in a row for the Seahawks, really breaking out their first round pick from last year. He's taking over the Tyler Lockett role in that offense, and DK Metcalf came back, which I think helped open it up for him. And another note I have on this game, Jawan Jennings, who's supposed to be like the number 4 or 5 receiver for San Francisco, might be, other than Amon-Ra St. Brown, might be the best stick mover in the NFL. That dude just produces first downs. That guy gets 4 or 5 first downs a game for San Francisco.
He's going to make a Pro Bowl, and he actually might be in a running for like a second-team All-Pro if he continues
so
this
good.
rate. But the problem is, with Brock Purdy getting hurt, who knows the fuck's going to happen here for him moving forward? And we got to ask this question: are the Niners going to miss the playoffs?
Maybe. I don't know.
They're in last place. They're in last place in the division. Now, also only a game and a half out of first place.
Yeah,
but they're in
a lot of
division.
division. Yeah. It's a fun division. We've been talking about it. Brooks, what do you have?
I mean, it's definitely something that needs to be talked about. It's the division is really good. So if they don't get their shit together soon, they're definitely going to be at risk of not making it.
I was listening to Bill Simmons' podcast, and he was talking about the coaches in the NFL and their records in one-score games. I can't remember exactly what he said. I think Tomlin's like something like 160 in one-score games in his career, like well over 700% winning or 70% winning percentage in one-score games, which is ridiculous. I think Kyle Shanahan is well below 500. I think he's like something like 31 and 35 or something like that. It seems like, it really checks out. It seems like they lose these stupid close games more than they should. And I don't know. It feels like you can't write them off because they've got so much talent, but it's also really dangerous because you keep on thinking this team is really talented, but they just really haven't shown it this year. So I don't know. Yeah. I think they missed Nick Bosa, who missed, I think, like half of this game due to injury.
Yeah. Now, this is the game I want to talk about coming up. So, Dusty, go ahead, man.
Atlanta, Denver?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I was all over this. I said Denver's going to kick the shit out of Atlanta. They're not that bad. They should have beaten the Chiefs last week, and boy, did they. Bo Nix's apology tour is going worldwide. I'm gonna go tour Asia and Europe and tell them all how dumb I was for betting against Bo Nix and thinking he sucked. It's the second time it's happened. I thought Justin Herbert was terrible. I thought that was a terrible pick by the Chargers. And look, these Oregon quarterbacks just keep proving me wrong. Since Marcus Mariota came out, I guess all the Oregon quarterbacks are good now. Kirk Cousins looked like a shell of himself in this game. Bijan Robinson couldn't get anything going. Javonte Williams from the grave had a good game. And Denver's defense just locked up Atlanta. What do you got, Bri?
You are the train conductor in the caboose. You might be the caboose as well, leading the Bo Nix apology tour. Because, man, you were raking coals over this son of a gun earlier.
I know, dude. And I was wrong. I have to admit, being the bigger man here. I was wrong. This guy's good.
He's good.
He's good.
He'll go out and throw 2 stinkers out there back to back, and then you'll be choo choo.
Yeah, I'll be right back. This guy sucks, train. Yeah.
Also, Kirk Cousins. Hey, let's not put this getting benched. Michael Penix Jr. coming in, playing a little bit. Woo! This is fun.
I think that was because of the score. I don't think that was because Cousins was playing bad, but I don't know. Brooks seems like, I don't know if he wants to talk on this or what.
Yeah, but you're looking at 2 6-5 teams. But Denver is really showing some stuff.
Yeah,
in the last couple of weeks.
and these West divisions, besides the Raiders, all of the West Division teams in both conferences are in the playoff hunt. They're in the playoff hunt. I mean, Chargers and Broncos are both slated to make the playoffs in the AFC at this point. I think every team in the NFC West has a chance to make the playoffs in the NFC. So I mean, it's been really interesting to watch these West Coast games.
Mm-hmm.
The 4:00 window is a little bit better than it used to be.
No shit. Earlier in the season, it was trash, but now it's pretty darn good.
Brooks, do you have anything on that game before we move on to Chiefs Bills, or are you on a bus?
I'm on the light rail right now, actually. But I mean, really, just nothing that you guys haven't already said. I mean, they're like the surprise of the league, I feel like, so far.
Joe Racky wants you to lick the pole on the tram. Don't do that, please.
No.
For his sake. You have a child to go home to.
Can't do that. But
the winner for the first time for me this year. Congratulations, Joe.
Yeah, Joe picks a winner. He wanted to mention that. He put that up on the thing. I don't know if you read. All right, let's move on. The game of the day, probably the game of the year so far, is at least narrative wise. Kansas City and Buffalo. Buffalo beats Kansas City, I think, for the second straight time in the regular season. This was the week that Josh Allen jumped Lamar in the MVP voting, and I think that if the Bills keep doing what they're doing, Josh Allen probably will win MVP, and they'll show the run on 4th and 2, the 26-yard touchdown run in the highlights, and you'll see that run for a really long time. This is a narrative-driven award, like we've always said. If you look at the numbers between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, Lamar's are better, but Josh Allen has not won an MVP. Lamar has won 2. Josh Allen is on a team with a better record. They just beat the best team in the league. And Josh Allen absolutely deserves his flowers, and this was an MVP-type moment. What do we have on this game in general, and how do we think, or what do we think about Josh Allen coming out of it in particular? And then we'll talk the Chiefs side of Mahomes.
Brooks, go ahead, man.
I mean, this is definitely a would-have-be done for me lately kind of deal. And, I mean, we just saw Josh Allen single-handedly basically win that game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't disagree with him taking over the favorite to win it all right now. But, I mean, it could be next week. Lamar could have a great game next week, and he'll take it back. I think it's just going to come down to it's going to be a two-person race, I think, here at the end.
Yeah.
I'm going to think that, Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts are still going to be in that race.
Jared Goff threw 5 picks in one game. He's out.
See, I mean, but then he rebounded. And Jalen Hurts is making a massive resurgence.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think he should be in there. And Herbert's been playing really well as of late too. He could be a long shot. I don't think he'll get it over any of these guys, but as a guy who's like 30-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, Mahomes keeps throwing picks. That's his I think 3rd or 4th game this year with multiple picks in the same game. He's not playing great this year. This was Kelsey was on ice the whole game. I think he had two catches. The other tight end that Brian loves, Noah Gray, had 2 touchdowns in this game. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. And Buffalo, even without Kincaid, even without Keon Coleman, even with Amari Cooper playing hurt, it doesn't seem to matter who's playing receiver for them because Josh Allen is just going to make it work. I think Mac Hollins is filling in nicely as like their second or third receiver. That guy's insane. I don't know if you guys know anything about him, but read his story. He's a fucking Looney Tune. I love him. I think this is the game of the year. This was the game that all the eyeballs are on. Everyone wanted to see this, and the Chiefs went down. And I think this is good for the Chiefs in the long run because I don't think they were good enough to go 17-0 or whatever and then run the table in the playoffs. But maybe this is the wake up call they need. What do we think about Mahomes? Do we think that the struggles are just as a result of just losing all their weapons, not having chemistry with these guys, or do we think it's a little bit of a deeper issue? Or do we think it's not that much of an issue?
I don't think it's that much of an issue, but I do think that I think the small amount of struggles they're having, I mean, you got to remember they're still 9-1.
Yeah.
It's probably a combination of all that stuff. It just has to be. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, it can't be up to snuff on the entire playbook right now. So he's pretty much limited to what routes he can run or how many plays he can be in the game for.
I think he's a goal line guy for them right now until he learns the playbook a little bit better. It just feels like what he is. Yeah, I mean, Brooks, do you have anything else on this game before we move on? Or do you have any thoughts on Allen, Mahomes, the state of those two teams in the AFC?
I mean, I can't believe it took the Chiefs this long to lose a game, to be honest with you. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Mahomes right now. I mean, we say like he's struggling, but they're 9-1, like you said. So it's kind of tough to sit here and complain about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's just not the same firepower that we're used to seeing, really.
Yeah. We're talking about a guy who, less than 4 or 5 years ago was throwing 50 touchdowns in the same season. He also had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce on that team. So a little bit different personnel, but we're just used to seeing a better Mahomes, and I know that like you guys said, the Chiefs are 9-1. It feels like they could be 6-5.
I think they should bring Kadarius Toney back. I mean, that was a linchpin.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's such a good locker room guy.
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
All right. Cincinnati and the Chargers.
All right, let's get it out there. It's the Ladd McConkey fucking effect. The Ladd McConkey. You never go against the McConkey.
Ladd McConkey, 123 yards on 6 catches in this game. That dude's a stud. Justin Herbert was running around in this game. 65 rushing yards out of Justin Herbert. Look at him doing some Lamar Jackson stuff. I think Herbert was great. I think Burrow was great. Burrow's been excellent all season, and it really sucks. If you look at his numbers in comparison to all these quarterbacks, it sucks for him that their defense is a complete joke, because he would easily be in the running for MVP this year. And I was completely out on him because I thought his wrist was messed up. I mean, Chase and Higgins are just going crazy whenever Higgins plays, and Burrow's been unbelievable. I think he's got like 25 touchdowns to 2 picks or something like that. Something similar to what Lamar has, but
he's 27-4. 27.
Yeah, and you just can't win these games with terrible run defense, and really just they have a terrible defense in general. J.K. Dobbins, what a stud. That little touchdown capstone at the end of the game was really awesome, with him doing a little front flip down the sideline into the end zone. Chargers are 7-3, and this is a matchup that we have to watch, because guess who's playing the Chargers next week? Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football.
I haven't heard the word capstone used in a very long time.
I was pontificating on that for a long time.
You can suck my ass.
What did you see? What do you see from the Chargers? And let's just do like a little small Ravens Chargers preview. How do we think we match up against the Chargers? Do you think that they're as good as their record says they are at 7-3? And do you think Cincinnati is dead in the water, or do you think they still have a run in them?
I think Cincinnati is dead in the water. You can't have that graphic we saw on McAfee yesterday, which was they have the NFL leading passer, they have the NFL's leading receiver, and they have the NFL sack leader, and they're 4-7.
Yeah,
I don't know how you're not winning games. I mean, it means you have great talent, but if you're, you are who what your record says you are at this point, unless you're the Steelers, in my eyes, because I just think it's shadow games. And they haven't played a bunch of division games yet. They're going to get smoked in a couple of these. But going back to the question, I haven't watched a lot of the Chargers, so I don't really have an answer. But the culture has definitely changed. I did not get a chance to watch the game on Sunday, so because I had work shit going on. So I don't really have too much on. I'm glad that J.K. Dobbins is finally getting some run and is healthy. Because I mean, we were all stoked when we got him in the second round, because the Ravens had a first round grade on him, and it never came to fruition. And not
just always hurt. Yeah, just always hurt, and that sucks. It does, like you said earlier in the segment, Bri. It does seem like they found a gem in Ladd McConkey. He seems like he's going to be able to be a stalwart in their offense for quite a while. I think he can run in the slot. I think he's a good receiver downfield. It seems like he's good contested. catches as well. He just feels like he's a guy who can really do it all. He's a smaller, kind of shiftier guy, but we've seen those guys succeed in the NFL, and we're seeing him succeed in the NFL right now. Amon-Ra St. Brown comes to mind as a guy who kind of looks like Ladd McConkey a little bit. But yeah, really, really good offensive matchup. The Chargers defense is really good, but this was the worst game they've had all year. It's the first time this whole year that they've allowed over 21 points. We'll look to see if the Ravens are able to bounce back on that Chargers defense. What do we think about Harbaugh versus Harbaugh?
Well,
and
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely go ahead. I love the Harbaugh. Yeah, he's in an airport. He's going to be screwed.
Yeah, he's fine. We got this.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the Harbaugh v. Harbaugh matchups just because the narrative is fantastic. They're they're the same from the same family. They go about coaching their football teams a little bit different. Jim is just a quirky dude. He is very unique. Yeah. He's a martini mixed cocktail. He's a martini mixed cocktail you've never seen before, and that's saying a lot because usually people like that don't work out in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I didn't know Ladd McConkey was a second round pick. I thought he was like a 5th round guy.
No, he was a first round grade for a lot of guys, but there was so many good receivers in this draft. I mean, Brian Thomas went like 24th or something like that. So.
But I'm excited for the game. I think it's going to be. I'm going to be excited for the game regardless. But I think it's going to be a good matchup and two teams that have basically the same mentality, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think, and it's not a must win. But it feels really important, especially coming off the loss to the Steelers, to get back on track. Losing 2 in a row at this point in the season would be a little bit worrisome. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. I think both teams are going to be able to move the ball. It's just going to be hopefully, we can hold on to it and hopefully we can make our kicks. They got Dicker the kicker, so I'm a little worried about him. He might match up good against us.
I will say, I wish we weren't playing them coming off of a Steeler game because this is going to be another tough-nosed, physical. Look, every game's physical, but these are two of the more physical teams on the D-line and offensive lines.
Yeah. It is nice that it's a Monday night, so we get that extra day rest. But it's going to be tough. Last game of the week, Texans Cowboys. Don't have to talk much about this. The Cowboys are absolutely terrible. They weren't good when Dak was healthy. They're terrible without Dak. Houston put up as many points as they wanted to. Joe Mixon ran all over the Dallas Cowboys defense, which we predicted on this show. He started the game off with a 45-yard touchdown on the first drive and didn't let off the gas pedal the whole game. He was always there. He scored 3 touchdowns. He had a huge game. The Texans looked like they got back on track a little bit. Nico Collins came back. He looked pretty good. Don't have to spend too much time on this. The Cowboys are terrible. The Texans handled their business as they should have. The roof was falling before the game started, so that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah,
that was fun. Is a way to put it.
Yeah,
I know the Texans went to Twitter, like the Texans Twitter account, and started making fun of the Cowboys. The Cowboys are comical. They are
so bad.
They're so bad to watch. Cooper Rush, good God. He actually didn't play that bad in the first half. To go along with outside of that, it's a shame, but it's something that I can vamp on a little bit while we try to get Brooksy back here. ESPN commentators, they're all right, look, I like Jason Kelce. I really do. And I like Ryan Clark, even though he's a former Steeler.
Did you see the suit Ryan Clark was wearing last night?
What the fuck were they wearing? I mean,
it's the first thing I said to one of my regulars sitting at the bar. I was like, "You look like you could wear that suit." He was like, "What the fuck is he wearing?"
Now he's got to be he's got to be like trying to sell a clothing line or something like that because that is god awful. He looked like if the Marvel character Two-Face was a suit, he wore it, and then Jason Kelce, like he was trying to be Indiana Jones or something. I don't know what, or some guy from Yellowstone. He looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on with this stuff? These fashion statements are so stupid.
Yeah, it's they look ridiculous. I like the Jason Kelce just kind of doing like the Zach Brown look a little bit. I don't know if I would wear the Ryan Clark suit though. That That was interesting. If either of the two sides of the suit were one solid suit, I would wear it.
Great suit.
Yeah, but I didn't get to see the pants though. I want to know if the pants were also half one way and half the other way. I didn't. I only saw the jacket.
I thought they were juxtaposition. So like,
I know. That was Argyle was on the other side. Yeah. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, I want him to stand up. I want to see what's going on.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit of a struggle as of late for the Ravens. Losing to the Cleveland Browns, losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a couple of division games. You never want to lose those as we wrap up the NFL segment here. But we still have hope for the Ravens, and we look to get back on track against the Chargers. Sucks for Colton Cowser. Didn't get to win Rookie of the Year, but really had a great rookie year. And just a couple slumps in the middle of the season probably derailed his chances. I don't know if do you have anything else from the wide world of sports before we sign off here? It looks like we're going to have to do our draft next week. Brooks is doing some traveling stuff.
Yeah. So we'll do our draft on Thursday.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll do our draft on Thursday. Our draft this week is players you would like to give a redo to for injury reasons only.
Yeah, we're not giving Aaron Hernandez any second chances on this show, guys.
And we took, unfortunately, and it hurts because it's a Maryland-based podcast, we had to take Len Bias off that list as well.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunately a self-inflicted injury.
Yeah.
So
just guys who got hurt playing football, or guys who, somebody got into a motorcycle. Jay Williams famously got into a motorcycle in accident. You could take him. Luke Gehrig has to retire early because of his health stuff. We can take that. But we're not going to take guys who sabotage their own selves, doing stupid stuff off the field. And it sucks because we like Len Bias and, we wish he would have been able to do whatever. But,
do we see a coach getting fired? All right, so Brooks is going to come back on. We might actually do the draft. He just said, he's checking in, and then he's going to jump back in.
Is he jumping back on? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so we're going to do draft. So anyway, do we see any coaches getting fired this week? Like, do we see Peterson leaving? Do we see Eberflus? Do we see a Brian Daboll? I mean, I don't think Jerry Jones is going to fire Mike McCarthy during the season because that's not really
he'll let it ride out.
Yeah.
And his contract's up at the end of the year. There's no sense in firing him at this point. Just let him ride it out and call it at the end of the year and get a new guy in there for the offseason.
See, the only thing I say to people about this stuff and let it ride is what happens if for some reason they go on a 4 or 5 game run and you're like, oh, well, maybe we got to give him another contract.
You got to say to yourself right now, this is it for this guy. We've seen enough. It doesn't matter what he does for the rest of the year. I think that's what you got to say to yourself. I don't know. Maybe that would change your mind, and I'm sure that you would have to think about it, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think Eberflus and Peterson should have both been fired on their flights home on Sunday or whatever on the bus rides. I think they could form a great tag team in the WWE as the losers. They are terrible head coaches. They run terrible organizations, and their players do not respect them at all. I don't believe. So not a huge fan of either of those guys. Don't understand how they have jobs anymore. Get somebody else in there and just let them try to figure it out. And,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Change the culture of those teams.
And I got a pot of the face bet on Matt Eberflus getting fired during the season. Come on.
Brian likes getting pied in the face, apparently. He keeps on making these bets.
Dude, it's so much fun. It doesn't hurt anybody. I got pied in the face one time. A young lady named Ashley. It was my birthday present to her. I allowed her to pie me in the face, and she did. But she hit me real good, and I started bleeding out of the one side of my nose. I had whipped cream all over my face. Then there was like a red streak coming down. there wasn't cherry pie filling in that bad boy.
Oh yeah, she nailed you.
Oh yeah.
Hall of Fame ballot came out, by the way. Did you see our boy Adam Jones is on it?
No, that's cool. He's not going to get in, but okay.
No. So the first time guys on the ballot that have a chance are Ichiro, CC Sabathia, and Felix Hernandez. I think Ichiro's in. I think CC's going to get in. I don't know if he'll be first ballot, but he's going to be close. I don't know about King Felix. I think Cy Young, perfect game, played his whole career for one city, was really, really good. I personally, I think Felix is a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's a first ballot guy, but he's definitely a guy who's probably going to get more buzz a little bit more down the road. There was a couple other guys that were interesting, but, like Ian Kinsler, Curtis Granderson, those guys, they're all very good. I like those guys. They're great players, but these are the very best of the very best. And Ichiro's first ballot. I mean, he should be 100%.
Ichiro's a no-brainer. He's going to bring his bat to the podium for the actual Torrey Hunter.
Torrey Hunter, I love. I love him. I think he should get some more love than he does. He had a ton of home runs over his career, was a very consistent player, and was one of the very best outfielders in the league for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. But we did that segment where we just go, yes or no, right? Hall of Fame, yay or nay.
Yeah.
And it's just when you said King Felix, I said yes. Like in my head, I said yes.
Yeah. Torrey Hunter seems like he could play in the outfield alongside Jim Edmonds on the team hall. Very good. Just not quite there. I think Paul Konerko is playing first base for that team. I don't know if Brooks is checking into his flight, and he had all kinds of travel problems. I know he wants to do the draft today, but it just seems like it's going to be seems like it's going to be a lot going on for him. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do the draft on Thursday when we do our NFL picks, and we'll get that graphic up when we can.
And also, I'm picturing Caitlin while he's drafting like athletes, and she's trying to get them
just
home.
Seething. Yeah.
Just seething, like horns begin just popping out of her head.
Yeah.
And they just continue to grow as he's like, I'll take Bo Jackson.
I mean, Bo Jackson's the number one on this list here. All right, I'm getting a call from Glenn Rothschild, so I have to go. Guys, thank you very much for joining our podcast. This has been another episode of Gary Williams, Still My Lawn Furniture.
Say it every time. Weird. Love you guys. Appreciate you very much. If you need help, talk to people. Mental health is very, 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 very important to all of us. Extremely important. All my friends help me out. Whenever someone's going through a tough time, I try to help my friends out as best I possibly can. Sometimes helping out means just shutting your mouth and listening, and truly listening. If you guys ever need help, reach out to your friends. You can reach out to us. Mental health is so important, especially for men. There's nothing weak or sad about a man having mental health problems. All right.
Thank you guys for joining us again. Joe, Pigtown, Nick, Chris Merrick, all of our friends and family,
Antonio,
and everyone who watches the show. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. We love you guys very much. And if you guys ever want to talk, or if you just want to bullshit about sports, reach out to us.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
We will do our draft, and we will do our picks on Thursday for the NFL Week 12 coming up. Week 12. God, it sucks. Every week I say it, but I can't believe it's Week 12 already. And we've got free agency for baseball coming. We got a lot of exciting stuff down the line, and the Terps basketball team looked pretty good against Marquette the other night. We didn't get to talk about that, but we will on future pods. So thanks again for joining us. Like we said, we're going to end the stream here. I've got a tea time. Brooks is trying to figure out his flight stuff, and Brian's got a life. So
and Brooks, it sounds like Brooks is going to be taking a steam locomotive home. Was from San Francisco. Good luck, Brooks.
All right, see you guys. Thanks for joining us again. All righty.
All right, bye.